out today with Jonathan Dunne from Talisman. He's gonna show us how Polkadot enables a tribalizing wallet stack. So please go welcome him. I'll let you the floor.
Hello, hello. Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm Jonathan. I'm one of the co-founders of Talisman. And today I want to share how Polkadot has enabled a trailblazing wallet stack. My beeper's not working. Any chance? Okay, I got to point it at the screen. We're going to do this by first asking the question, what is the role of the wallet in Polkadot? And then how Talisman fulfills this role. And then next I have a bit of a product update, and I want to explain how anybody can get involved with the project. But for those that don't know Talisman, we're a product-oriented crew helping users traverse the Paraverse with 2 products and bringing a product rigor to the ecosystem. Firstly, we have our extension wallet. This has garnered over 30,000 users and supports over 150 different networks across both Substrate and the EVM environments. And we also have the Talisman web portal, which has garnered around 50% of the market share of nomination pools since they launched in November. And an interesting fact about the portal is that actually we see about 40% of the usage for this product on mobile devices. So people are loading up the web dashboard on their mobile browser and adding a watched address so that they can look at their portfolio on the move. And I'm glad to announce that as of a few weeks ago, the Talisman extension wallet has joined the portal in being open source. Being able to verify the source code, particularly for wallets, is something that's really important in Web3. So I'm happy to share that, that this product is now a part of the open source community for everybody to contribute to. So what is the role of the wallet in Polkadot? To kind of help answer this question and to give us some framework for the rest of this talk, I want to introduce this very, very simple diagram of the technology stack in the ecosystem. So right at the bottom layer, we've got some peer-to-peer stuff and some networking code, and then the Polkadot protocol and the parachains and any solo chains that are part of the ecosystem. And then we've got some middleware, data indexes, block explorers, oracles. And then finally, right before users interacting with this, we have wallets and dApps. And when I ask people kind of what is the role of the wallet in this technology stack, I broadly get answers that are in one of 2 categories. Firstly, people will say it's the role of the wallet to bring in all of the users to the ecosystem. That's because Polkadot provides the block space, parachains and solo chains provide some business application or some kind of functional logic. And therefore, it's the wallet and the dApp's role to bring all of the users into the ecosystem. Everything else is just infrastructure, but this is the portion of the stack that touches users. Therefore, it's your job to do that user acquisition. And the second thing I hear people say is it's the wallet's job to just make things easy, because it's not easy, people won't use Polkadot. And it doesn't matter how lovely Polkadot is down the stack, if it's not easy to use at the wallet layer, then it really doesn't matter. And I have to say that we agree with these 2 kind of trains of thought. The Talisman staking dashboard has garnered over 2.5 million DOT that's now locked in staking as a result of the product. And this has come via 4,000 individual wallets. So we've found some layer of Polkadot that is not necessarily easy to use, made it accessible, and onboarded a lot of users into the ecosystem. But I don't think that's all of what is the role of a wallet inside of Polkadot. And I want to go back to this quote, which is, it doesn't matter how good Polkadot is if users cannot use it. And today I want to kind of extend this train of thought and say, it doesn't really matter how good Polkadot is if users can't use it in a way that's coherent with the strengths of the network. And it's really the role of the wallet to take some of the unique and important characteristics of the decentralized networking stack down the bottom and bubble those up through towards the user so that the users can benefit from everything that's on the network. So firstly, I want to talk about some Web3 values. Down here, there are some amazing properties of the network that are really, really important. Polkadot has the principle of verifiability. It's decentralized, and it promotes the concepts of self-sovereignty and censorship resistance. But it really doesn't matter about all of this if the wallets and the dApps don't inherit these characteristics and give them to the user. So this is the role of the wallet, really, that I want to talk about today. And the first example I would want to give is with the transaction experience inside of Talisman. So here are some screens that we released a few weeks ago for the approval experience inside of Talisman. This is what pops up when you do an action on a dApp. And firstly, I think people would say, oh, damn, this is pretty nice. I can very quickly and naturally get an idea of the contents of the transaction that I'm going to submit. I can verify that it's the same as what I just crafted on the dApp. And just before I kind of go past the point of no return and sign the transaction and shoot it off to the network, I can verify it's exactly what I want to do in a really, really natural way. But what's quite remarkable about this is what's going on under the surface. You see, this is totally verifiable. The power of Web3 is in its verifiability, and it's essential that we provide kind of user experience patterns that allow users to get to grips with that process of verifying the actions before they go to the network. And this kind of support for approval screens inside of Talisman is totally general, because what we can do is we can get the metadata from the chain for every single extrinsic. And if we think it's a popular transaction, we can do some work to create a lovely UI like this. If it's everything else, we can provide a kind of a decoded view of the transaction. And you don't need to upload any source code to like some third party to verify the smart contract or an API or anything like that. It just works for every single extrinsic. And taking this a little bit further, if the user is using an application that's running a small .light client, then they are actually retrieving that information from themselves, from the light client that's running in their own browser. So suddenly you're in a position where the user's running a light client, asking themselves for the information from the network about the transaction, decoding it, verifying that it's exactly what you want it to be, and then propagating it to the network via something that isn't a centralized RPC. So it's verifiable, it's decentralized, and it's censorship resistant. And it's a lovely user experience. And this is kind of what Polkadot enables and what Talisman is really pleased to have inherited from the network. All right. I want to go back to this diagram because this is maybe a little bit incorrect. It's a little bit simplified. It's really not how we as a wallet see the ecosystem, and it might not be how users see the ecosystem. It looks a little bit more like this. I mean, there are over like 100 parachains, lots and lots of quirks and opportunities that come along with this multi-chain kind of future. And it's also the wallet's job to take this kind of rich multi-chain ecosystem and present it to the user in a coherent way. And there are lots of characteristics and challenges that come with this. Ooh, we've skipped a bit. Okay, there are over 90 parachains. XCM is becoming more and more of a feature in the ecosystem. There are flexible ways to pay fees for transactions inside of Polkadot. There are multiple environments now that the EVM is on a lot of chains. And there are lots of things that we have to deal with as a wallet, like the lack of wrapped assets and Polkadot Vault being more and more popular. So how does this be presented inside of the wallet layer in the ecosystem with Talisman? Firstly, there has never been an active network inside of the wallet. Every single wallet you see in other ecosystems, you have to program it as you're using the wallet to say, now this is the network I'm interested in using now, and now I want to use another application. I've got to switch this and program my wallet. And it's a really kind of single chain oriented approach. But in Talisman, we've said Polkadot is a really rich multi-chain ecosystem. There are over 100 parachains that we must support. Therefore, the user isn't going to have to program their wallet every time they're using a different application. There is no active network. You're just using Polkadot all of the time. We also have an asset-first portfolio management screen, where instead of saying for each network, where are all of the assets, we just say for each asset, on which networks do I have the asset on? So you can see for DOT, I have it on a kind of a range of different parachains here. And when people ask kind of what was the enabling technology that allowed you to create this kind of condensed and multi-chain oriented portfolio view, most people say it's XCM, because this is the enabling technology that allows people to move an asset from one chain to another. But really, I would posit that it's also the fact that there are no wrapped assets in the ecosystem. When I go transfer DOT from the relay chain to HydraDX, for example, I'm not then given HDX DOT, and then that's like another line item in my portfolio. It's just DOT all of the time, and this is a really multi-chain friendly ecosystem to be a part of, and this is how it's presented inside of the wallet. And we've kind of inherited the same kind of philosophy and design language in some infrastructure we've built for transaction history and some NFT portfolio viewing inside of the web app. But it's not without its challenges. In places where there are some kind of engineering challenges to work around inside of Talisman, we have a principle of always clarify the information to the user, never kind of sweep it under the carpet and simplify it. An example of this is the fact that there are many, many different address formats for your one wallet inside of Substrate. You must know this if you're kind of interacting with the network on a regular basis. And in Talisman, instead of just pretending that they don't exist, we won't show them in the portfolio view. But if you ever wanted to receive some assets or copy your address to send it to somebody else, we'll present all of them inside of the wallet for you to peruse, and then you can select the correct one for that moment or whatever's most relevant in that point in time. We also have really, really lovely integrations for Ledger and Polkadot Vault accounts. These are not as multi-chain friendly as your kind of hot wallet inside of Talisman, just because of the limitation on the device. But if you haven't used Ledger or Polkadot Vault, formerly Parity Signer, inside of Talisman, I really, really encourage you to do so. You won't tell that it's kind of a little bit single chain underneath the surface. And we also have something coming soon to the Talisman extension. It's the ability to group your accounts by folder. So this is something which is like kind of unimpressive at a first glance, but really it's something that I think solves a lot of problems in portfolio management as you get more and more complicated set of accounts in the ecosystem. For example, if you have an EVM account and you're kind of transferring assets regularly from Moonbeam to a Substrate chain, you have two key pairs that are totally separate from each other on the networks, but really you're treating them as one account as your user. So we kind of inherited this use case and have decided that users can actually simplify and clarify to themselves their portfolio by grouping their accounts by use case or by network or however it may be. So that's a little bit on how Polkadot has a unique set of technologies and characteristics further down the stack, and how Talisman has inherited these through the wallet layer and presented them to the user in a coherent way. And next, I want to talk about something new from the team. It's a multi-signature dashboard called Signet, and it will help you master the coordination of your organization inside of Polkadot. This dashboard is coming in a couple of months, and if those of you here that have used the multi-sig kind of wallet or palette in Substrate before, you know that it's kind of full of some usability issues. We've solved a lot of these pain points with Signet, so you can share the call data between signers instantly inside of Signet. There's an instant onboarding tool, so no one needs to program the wallet every single time. You can kind of set up your multi-signature wallet for your organization once, and then everybody else that's a signer will be able to onboard instantly. We use the proxy palette as a security and kind of versatility measure for the multi-signature wallets inside of Signet. And all of the multi-chain portfolio and transaction verifiability work that we've done inside of the other two products is also present in Signet. So the kind of level of product polish that you expect from Talisman will be present inside of this multi-signature dashboard, which is shipping in a couple of months. The last thing I want to mention is something which flies under the radar a little bit when people talk about Talisman, and it's the community-oriented nature of the project. Ever since we started, kind of months and months before we had a wallet on the Chrome Web Store, we had a program called the Talisman Sentinels. And this is a community kind of oriented group of kind of core supporters that perform a really important role for us inside of the project. They're currently kind of performing a lot of the user support for users of the wallet. They're also hugely important in the product quality process of Talisman, where we will develop a feature and the Sentinels receive this and do a lot of the product testing kind of cycle a month or so before the public has access to a feature. It's a really, really important role. And they're also producing some content. This Talisman Sentinels program has kind of had many, many phases as we've evolved, had the roles that they're performing. We're currently in phase 4, and you can get involved if you hop into the Talisman Discord. It's actually a really lovely way to get involved with the ecosystem at a grassroots level. I mean, there are lots and lots of roles available for people. They're paid, and we actually have one Sentinel currently in Berkeley at the Polkadot Academy as a result of having done this work with Talisman in the past. So it's a really, really lovely way to get involved with the ecosystem at a grassroots level, and it's a crucial role for Talisman, the project. So please get involved if you want, and forward it to your mates if you think that somebody is suitable for doing some product quality work or user support inside of the ecosystem. That was a talk on how Talisman has taken the trailblazing nature of Polkadot and bubbled it up into the wallet stack and towards the user. You can download the wallet at talisman.xyz. Thank you.